I'd like to bring up two Barnabas Group members, Scott and Cheryl Laidlaw, and introduce you to them. As they come up, I need to tell you that they about a year ago were new members of the Barnabas Group, and I met them, I got to spend time with them at our new member dinner, and they were kind enough to, this is the first thing they said to me, we're testing the waters with the Barnabas Group. Now, I usually like to say to people, hey, we're really committed to the Barnabas Group, not we're testing the waters. But Scott says, I want to see how God can use an architect. So I have to tell you that I went home that night and I prayed. I said, God, I don't know how you can use an architect. I couldn't even answer that question. Well, Scott and Cheryl are going to tell you how God has used them in the last year. We'll start with Cheryl.
Hi, mine's a little different than his, but I've been searching for a few years for something, a cause, organization, a project, or something that would spark with our 17-year-old son. And earlier this year, Kids Around the World presented. Remember they were talking about the playground they did in North Korea? And I thought that might work. And so I went home and told our son about it, and he bit. And so he called and got a few of his friends, 4 of his friends. I met with Brian Grant, who's here, from Kids Around the World, and they sat down and they pitched their idea that they would put together a team and build a playground in Cuba in this past summer. And he said, okay, well, that sounds great, but how about if you just start with one of our trips we have already planned, it's on the calendar, you can go on the website, you can choose it, there's already a team, they've started the funds. And the guy said, no, well, that's not really what we want to do. We want to have our own team, we want to kind of set our own rules, and we want to go to Cuba this summer. And so kudos to Kids Around the World, they agreed and they let the boys run with it. And it was a phenomenal experience. They, in a matter of 4.5 months, they put together a team of 18 volunteers, and they raised over $50,000, and they did it all on their own terms. Being boys, being teenagers, it meant, the least amount of communication, no meetings that were even half necessary, and we don't want to talk a lot about it. So it was amazing, and they did it, and it was a phenomenal chance. They went to Havana in the end of August, and they built this huge playground with 3 different parts in the barrio of La Lisa, and it allowed them to show God's love in a really physical, active way, and it was tangible. It was something that was permanent, and it was totally awesome. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank Barnabas for all that you guys do and the connections that you make, and from all these 17-year-old boys and all the children in La Lisa that are playing and swinging and sliding today, and from the parents of these boys who hadn't done anything like this. Thank all of you, and giant kudos to Kids Around the World for doing what they do and doing it so excellently.
So, as Jim alluded to, my story is a little different. Sherry kind of got into it in a more traditional way, saw somebody present. I don't know if this happened to you guys, but I basically just got ambushed. I told Jim, Jim, I haven't really seen anyone who needs an architect and so forth. And 2 days later, he's having lunch with Jossie Chaco, who started this organization called MPART. And he asked Jossie, he goes, so Jossie, what is your biggest need right now? And Jossie says, Jim, this sounds strange, but I really need an architect. So I just got back from India 10 days ago. MPART's planting 100,000 churches in India. They've got over 18,000 planted, another 80+ thousand to go. It's an amazing organization. I spent time meeting with contractors on building sites. I spent 2 days with Jossie understanding his vision and how he thought I might be able to help. I spent another 2 days with in their lead office with their design team and their engineers. And I was there in my marketplace talent of being an architect. But I was there because God came down with his giant hand, and his handprint was over this thing like there was no tomorrow, and put me right in this place. I had no idea why it was set up. Why me? What would I have to offer? And I came back from that trip realizing that it didn't have to be me, but God was going to use me, to support that organization. And we came back with a strategic plan. I'm going to involve my entire office in the mission. My office is going to be blessed. It's just an incredible thing. And so I think Brian Lockhart, who leads MPART USA, is here today. Brian, raise your hand somewhere, wherever you are. There he is. So if you have any questions about MPART, it's an amazing thing. It's all India-based, and like I said, they're changing the country of India. So check out Brian. And again, I want to thank Barnabas for that ambush in and through Jim and God. All right? Thanks.
Thank you, guys. I don't know that I ambushed him. I think God did. If you're a member here today, really come to these meetings with an open heart. I don't know whether it's going to be the ministries that present or somebody you just happen to sit next to or somebody you're introduced to at a break, but God will do things through you if you have an open heart. If you're not a member here today, turn to page 63. There's an application there. Hey, sign up before you leave. It's $1,500 a year to be part of this, $125 a month. If you can't afford $125 a month, seriously, come on. I just can't say it any more differently than that. All right, you better be a member of the Barnabas Group. You have to be. God will use you.